Assalamualaikum and good morning to Doctor and everyone. Today, I will give a presentation on river basin management in Vietnam, focusing on why it's important and the challenges it faces. Vietnam has many rivers shaped by its tropical climate and mountains. There are 30 main river basins, including the Red Thai Bins in the north, Dong Nai in the south, and the Mekong River in the southwest. These rivers are very important for farming, hydropower, water supply, fish farming and transport. They also provide jobs and support biodiversity with thousands of plant and fish species. The Mekong River, for example, support the life of around 65 million people. About 80% of the people living in the lower Mekong Basin rely on it for their income, food and water. This shows how strongly connected the people and environment are. But Vietnam's rivers are facing serious problems. Urban areas are growing fast, leading to more pollution in rivers from factories and homes. Cutting down forests and expanding farms cause soil to wash into rivers, making the water dirty and changing how rivers flows. This affects water quality and causes conflict between users like farmers, industry and households. One big issue is poor coordination. Many government agencies and provinces manage the rivers separately. This causes overlap, confusion and weak enforcement of rules, making long-term planning difficult. In short, Vietnam's rivers are very important for both people and nature, but pollution, overuse and poor management are big threats. Better cooperation and stronger policies are needed to protect these rivers for the future.
The river basins of Vietnam, particularly the Red River Basin system and the Mekong River Basin system, are significant for the country's socio-economic development, food security and environmental balance. There are growing sources of stress on these basins including urbanization, climate uncertainties, hydropower developments and competing land and water uses. The use of Geographic Information Systems (GIS) has emerged as a critical tool in managing river basins, including providing multi-scale spatial analysis, decision-making, and scenario modeling. Floods and droughts are the most common and also the most damaging natural disasters in Vietnam, and river basins are generally the main sources of impact. The seasonal floods of the Mekong Delta have their consequences, but it is also advantageous for farming livelihoods when water levels rise to particular thresholds. Long-term droughts also threaten access to water for state and domestic use, especially in the Central Highlands and South Central Coast. GIS is often used in flood management, utilizing hydrologic models such as HEC-RAS, SWOT, and MAP11 to stimulate water flow in inundation extents and areas at risk of flooding. For example, the Southern Institute of Water Resources Studies SIWRR undertook GIS-based flood risk mapping studies in the Mekong Delta, drawing on hydrological data including rainfall, elevation, soil permeability, and river discharge models of the flooding area. This has also assisted with flood zoning, evacuation planning, and area and infrastructure development. In Vietnam's river basins, wetlands and floodplains are biologically important systems that support many ecosystem services such as biodiversity, fisheries, carbon sequestration, and water purification. Unfortunately, land conversion, increased aquaculture, pollution, and hydrological alteration due to dams have caused massively degraded ecosystems. GIS is important for ecosystem restoration due to its provision of spatial information regarding land cover changes, hydrological connections, and habitat fragmentation. Tram Chim National Park, situated on the plain of reeds in the Mekong Delta, is a Ramsar wetland of international importance. Unfortunately, the park is undergoing considerable changes including altered flood cycles and land use constraints. The development of time-specific spatial datasets of water levels, burn hotspots, and ecosystem types enabled by GIS and remote sensing provided important information for the park to make adaptive management decisions regarding water management. Water management was adjusted in a way to mimic natural flood pulses that would help recover Melaleuca forests and wet grasslands, which is critical habitats for threatened fauna including the Cerus shrimp. The Mekong River Basin, which is shared with 6 countries, is a complex hydroelectric system that Vietnam both contributes to and gains from. The significant hydropower dams constructed in upstream countries such as China and Laos have affected downstream flow, sediment transport, and aquatic ecosystems in the Mekong Delta of Vietnam. The Mekong River Commission (MRC) is a founding member using the GIS-based Decision Support Framework (DSF) used to stimulate water flows and sediment transports due to dam construction and operation. The DSF allows managers to consider the costs and benefits of energy generation versus environmental impacts. The decision framework utilizes information on water levels, flow timing, and inundated areas from all member country contributions and produces visualizations.
Hello, good afternoon to my beloved lecturer, Dr. Devika, and my fellow friends. My name is Nur Anira Ala binti Rosli. My metric number 2024874832. So, I'm going to present about the challenges of river basin management in Vietnam. Vietnam is a country with many rivers like the Mekong Delta and the Red River Basin, which are very important for agriculture, water supply, and people's daily life. But managing this river basin is not easy. There are 3 big challenges I want to share with you all, which is integration with early warning system, second, protection aquatic ecosystem, and last one, lack of integrated multi-scale modeling. The first challenge is about early warning systems. Vietnam often faces floods, especially during the rainy season and typhoons. Although we have early warning system to predict floods, the problem is they are not well connected to river management plans. For example, during the big floods in central Vietnam in 2020, many communities did not receive timely warnings because the river managers, local authorities, and emergency teams did not share information quickly. If this system were properly connected, people could be evacuated earlier, and then operations could be adjusted to reduce the flow impact. So, integrating early warning system with river management is very important to save life and reduce damage. Next, second challenge is about protecting the aquatic ecosystem. Vietnam's rivers, especially the Mekong River, are home to many important species like the Irrawaddy dolphin and the giant freshwater stingray. But today, many of these species are endangered. Why? Because of dam constructions, overfishing, and pollution from pesticide use in farming. When upstream countries build hydropower dams, they block the natural flow of water and sediments. This changes fish migration patterns, reduce food for river animals. At the same time, chemical pollution kills fish and reduces water quality. Vietnam needs to carefully balance development and environment to protect this ecosystem for the future. Lastly, the challenge is the lack of integrated multi-scale modeling. This is a big word, but it simply means Vietnam does not have good models to predict what happens in the whole river basin, from upstream to downstream. For example, when dams are operated in China or Laos, it can cause floods or drought in Vietnam. But without international data and a proper modeling system, Vietnam cannot prepare or respond effectively. Good models should combine data from local, national, and even international levels to predict water flows, sediment movement, and climate impacts. Without this, decision makers may make wrong choices that can harm people and the environment. So, I will pass to the next presenter.
Next, we move to the importance of river basins management in Vietnam. The first importance is water security. Water security in Vietnam heavily relies on the major rivers like the Mekong, Red, and the Nile for agriculture, industry, and daily water use. The Mekong River allows about 17 million people and produces more than 15% resources is increasingly driven by upstream dams, constructions, and the impact of climate change, such as changing rainfall patterns. River basin management is also offer a sustainable and integrated approach to managing water resources. For example, in the river basin management helps control water availability during the dry seasons by managing reserve operations. In the Donglai Basin, it supports urban planning efforts that reduce flood risk in areas like the Ho Chi Minh City. River basin management is also play a key role in strengthening climate resilience and avoiding water conflict. Without it, rapid urbanizations could outpace water availability, leading to environmental damage and even violations of the basic human rights to water. Next, we move to the second importance of river basin management, which is environmental protection. River systems in Vietnam are under serious pressure due to pollution, deforestation, and unrelated development. The Mekong River, which is home to one of the world's richest freshwater ecosystem, is experiencing habitat loss caused by dam constructions and sand mining. Meanwhile, the Red River suffers from pollution due to industrial waste and untreated sewage. And in the Dong Nan Basin, deforestation and farming has caused erosions and water contamination. River basin management helps to address this issue by enforcing water quality standards and identify pollution hotspots. It also promotes reforestation, sustainable agriculture, and long-term ecosystem health. Through cooperations under framework like the Mekong River Commissions, river basin management support coordinated actions across national borders. The third importance of river basin management is socio-economic development. Rivers in Vietnam are essential to its economy. The Mekong River basins alone contribute over half of the country's rice productions, and 70% of its agriculture export. However, problems like water scarcity, land subsidies, and over-extractions threaten this economic activity. River basin management helps balance water use in irrigations, fishing, navigations, and hydropower through coordination, basin-wide planning. For example, in the Dong Nai Basin, river basin management ensure that hydropower operations at the Tri An Dam don't interfere with the downstream water needs. Same goes with the Red River. River basin management align dam operations with flood control, water storage, and electricity generation. Furthermore, river basin management also encourage collaborations among government agencies, local community, and the private sector. Basin councils in the Dong Nai and Red River regions help ensure the development is inclusive and sustainability.
To conclude, river basin management in Vietnam is a vital approach to managing the country's natural, social, and economic issues, especially within the transboundary Mekong River Basin. A key tool here is Geographic Information System or GIS. It helps in flood and drought monitoring, wetland protection, and hydropower planning through real-time data and modeling, making disaster response more effective. However, despite its benefits, RBM still faces major challenges like fragmented governance, poor early warning integration, and lack of multi-scale models. This shows the urgent need for stronger coordination and regional cooperation. As an environmental studies student, I have learned that river basin management isn't just technical, which is about combining ecological knowledge, special tools like GIS, and community participation. Moving forward, river basin management must be adaptive, data-driven, and collaborative to balance development with environmental protection, especially under climate change. Thank you.